Hello my sweet friends, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book tag. I have done this for the past 2 years. This is my third year doing it. I will leave the other two linked down below if you want to go back and watch them. I don't know if I recommend it. But at this point it's tradition, so of course I had to do it. We have all of the usual questions that I answer every year, but I also decided to add a few more because I was watching Bestie Katie film this video and she added a few more questions, so I'm stealing those from her. I'll link her video down below as well if you want to watch that. And of course I'll have all the questions in the description box as well if you guys want to film this. So far this year I have read 78 books, which I am very happy about. But let's just jump straight into the questions. The first question is best book you've read so far in 2024. And at first I was like, oh, I'll just like choose one book, but I was looking at all of the 5 stars that I've had this year and I've only had 5 so far this year out of 78 books. 5 stars, which it's not great. Like I wish I had more 5 stars, so I was like, I'll just share all of my 5-star reads with you. I thought I would just like grab the books as I go because that sounds kind of fun. Of course we have Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. I think this would have to be my top #1 favorite book of the year so far. This was just everything I was hoping it would be. It was honestly perfect. I've seen so many people say I didn't love BJ, but then I read this book and now I do, which is just so nice. As like a BJ lover, I just want everyone to love him, so I feel like he's really getting a bit more love in this book. And I know that these characters are definitely not perfect and I do not condone a lot of their behavior, but I love these characters. They feel so real to me, but also Jessa Hastings' writing will never cease to amaze me. I think it is the best writing I've ever read in my life. It does something to my brain that I cannot explain. I just utterly adore this world and these books. And it's funny because I was rewatching my video from last year and my favorite book at this point last year was Daisy Hate's The Great Undoing. So if Jessa doesn't release anything in the next 12 months, I don't know what my favorite book will be next year, because what else even exists apart from MPU? Literally nothing. As for the other 5 stars that I've had this year, we of course have Funny Story by Emily Henry. I also have Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands, another 5-star for me. Of course, we have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, absolute perfection. And the last one I don't actually have a physical copy of yet. This is my latest 5-star read. I literally finished it yesterday and it is out on a limb. I cannot wait to get myself a copy of this one. I know I didn't talk about a lot of those books in depth, but it's probably because I will be talking about them later in this video. The next question is best sequel you've read in 2024. And of course I have to choose Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands. I'm gonna try not to repeat books the whole way through, but forgive me if I repeat a couple because I just have to. I guess I could also say MPU Into the Dark, but I feel like I just could use that for so many questions, so I'm gonna try not to. But I love this series so much. I know a lot of people don't, but the first book was 5 stars for me. The second book was 5 stars for me. I cannot wait for the next one. I am a cozy fantasy girly, I think. I just love the way I feel when I'm in this world with these characters. If you don't know what these books are about, they are cozy fantasy, so very low stakes, not a whole lot happening, a lot more slower paced. So don't go into this expecting like action-packed, high stakes, high fantasy. Like it is very, for the most part, mundane. In the first book you are following Emily Wilde, who is a professor, and she is in the midst of writing an encyclopedia of fairies, and she has to travel to another part of the world to do some research on the fae and the folk of the land there. And so she does that, but she doesn't have the best social skills. She is not the friendliest. She tries, but she just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't come naturally to her, you know? And she ends up upsetting some of the folk of that land. And then it just so happens that her academic rival, Wendell Bambleby, shows up where she is, and he is the opposite of Emily Wilde in a lot of ways. She is very studious, very hardworking, very academic, very goal-oriented and task-oriented and not so people-oriented. And Wendell, on the other hand, loves people, loves socializing, finds that side of things very easy. Doesn't care as much for the academic side of things or the studying side of things. So they kind of butt heads a bit because she thinks that he should be acting certain ways and he thinks that she could be behaving better in terms of like socializing, but they end up working together and an unlikely friendship slash romance is formed in the first book. That's kind of what happens, and it is just so charming and just quite cute and sweet watching them go on their little adventures and having their little tiffs, and they're so sassy towards each other. It's just I'm obsessed. And then in the second book, we are just following them as they go on another adventure. And again, very cute, very sweet. I just love these characters so much, and I love the way it's written. This one is set in 1910, so it definitely has that historical kind of element to it, but I adore this. Also one of my favorite covers of the year because it's just stunning. The next question is a new release that you haven't read yet, but you want to. This is kind of embarrassing. I know a lot of you already know what this is, but I still am yet to read Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. And what makes this even more embarrassing to me is that I have read Divine Rivals twice now and still have not read this book. And Divine Rivals, the first book in this duology, if you are not aware, literally ends on a cliffhanger. So why have I not picked this book up, you may ask? The answer is because I've heard so many bad reviews about this and I am scared. I am scared to pick up this book and not enjoy it as much as the first one in this series and have it kind of tarnish my experience of this world and these characters and this romance, because I adore Divine Rivals. I love it so much. Upon my reread, it just cemented my love for these characters and this writing and this series. I think it is beautiful, and I am scared of this book, but I am determined. I think I'm honestly going to try and read it in the next couple of weeks, especially off the back of me doing a reread, because I literally reread Divine Rivals like 2 weeks ago or something, maybe even less, I don't know. But I'm scared, guys. I'm scared. I feel like so many people have not loved this one as much as the first one, and I don't know why. I don't know why, and I'm scared. But in saying that, I have seen people give this 5 stars. I have seen people love this, and so there is hope, and I am praying that I am one of the people that enjoys this one as much as the first one. If you loved this one, please hype it up in the comments below to just really encourage me to pick this up. But it's stupid that I haven't read this yet. I'm pretty sure this technically was a new release in 2023 for the US, but it didn't come out till the beginning of this year in Australia, hence why I'm considering it a new release for 2024. Hopefully I've got that information right, but I need to read this ASAP Rocky. The next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and I have so many. I'm looking forward to so many new releases coming, but I decided to narrow it down to my top 3 for the sake of this video. My top 1 is much higher than any of the others. It is like far above the rest. It is what I am the most excited about, and it's coming out so soon, and that is Reckless by Lauren Roberts. You guys know I loved Powerless, I loved Powerful, and I cannot wait to read Reckless. I was really scared when I read Powerless that it was just gonna be one of those books where it was a bit of a fluke. I don't want to say that I doubted you, Lauren Roberts. I feel really bad that I kind of did, but I was just like, this is the author's first book. It's her debut novel, and it was 5 stars for me. It was so incredibly good, and I was just like, there is no way that she can do that again. Like, what if it's just a fluke? What if the second one just does not live up to the first one? The author is also so young, so I don't know, I just had my hesitations. I just didn't want to get my hopes up if I was going to be let down really badly. But then I read Powerful a couple of months ago, which is the novella that follows Powerless, and the writing just hit the same. And I didn't give it 5 stars mostly just because it was short. It wasn't like enough to get me to that 5-star point, but it was one of the best novellas I've ever read. The writing was phenomenal. The characters were phenomenal. I got so attached to the characters and their storyline in such a short amount of time. I don't know how she did it. And so I'm like, if she can do that in a novella, what is this full book gonna be like? I cannot wait. I think it comes out July 2nd, if I'm remembering correctly. Sometimes I get confused because sometimes the dates are different depending on the different countries, but I'm pretty sure it's early July. So I will be locking myself probably in this room July 2nd and just reading it, binging it probably from start to finish, maybe in that day, I don't know, but wow, I just can't wait. But as for the others that I'm really excited about, A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston is one that I'm just really intrigued about. I've only read one book by this author, The 7-Year Slip, but I absolutely loved it. I ate it up. I haven't read The Dead Romantics because I've heard kind of mixed things about it, and it doesn't like sound like something that I would be super obsessed with. But the new book coming, A Novel Love Story, I think it's set in some sort of magical realism world that has to do with books and maybe jumping into a book potentially. I could be wrong with that. I haven't looked into it too much because I do want to kind of go in mostly blind, but it sounds like it'll be right up my alley. So I'm very excited for that one, and I think that one's end of June, which is really soon. And the last one that I want to talk about is called Death at Morning House by Maureen Johnson. I love Maureen Johnson. I know that she's written a lot of books, and I actually haven't read that many of hers. The only books I've read from her are her Truly Devious books. There are 5 books out. I've read every single one, ate up every single one, devoured every single one, if you will. And that series series, I think, may be finished because this new book coming out is a standalone, and I think it follows another teenager figuring out a mystery, and I just really can't wait to have something new from Maureen Johnson because I've loved all of the other things that I've read from her. The next question is, what is the biggest surprise that you've had so far in 2024? And I would have to say Babel or Babel, whatever. I pushed this off for so long because I just thought that I was not the type of person that was going to enjoy it. I didn't think I would be the type of person to be able to understand the depth that this novel has. And in saying that, there's probably a lot that did go over my head, but I enjoyed this so much more than I was expecting to. I read it in a reading vlog, which I'll try and remember to link down below if you want to see like all my thoughts and reactions whilst reading. But I ended up giving this a 4.25. I thought it was absolutely fantastic and so intriguing and so much more digestible than I initially anticipated. So if you want to read this but you're scared that you're not smart enough, or I don't know, just like along those lines, which is what I thought and how I felt, I really encourage you to pick it up. Like if you want to read it and if it sounds interesting to you, give it a go. Why not? Maybe listen to the audiobook if you're a little bit intimidated. I feel like that's always a good way to go into books that you're intimidated with, especially when you like listen to it while you read it. That's what I did at the beginning of this one, just to kind of wrap my head around the world building and stuff. But this is like historical, but also like fantasy. There's like secret societies. There is like found family. There's a lot of discussion about really like serious and layered topics like racism, classism. There's probably so much more in it as well. But yeah, it was just a much more pleasant reading experience than I originally thought it would be. And so it was a huge surprise for me. Next we have favorite new author. So both of these authors are not like debut authors. They're not new authors, but they are new to me. Dana Schwartz. I hope that is the correct pronunciation. Forgive me if it's not. But I read Anatomy and Immortality. These are a little duology, so they are like part of the same series. But these were so phenomenal. These are historical fiction, bit of a mystery, bit of a romance. I just adored these. I love the writing. I love the characters. They're also set in Edinburgh, which I really liked that. I think they're set, 1817. And these books follow a girl who really wants to be a surgeon, but girls becoming surgeons is just absolutely not appropriate in this time. And so she dresses as a boy and goes to class and learns how to be a surgeon. Unfortunately, things don't quite go to plan and she has to kind of go for a plan B, I guess. And she ends up meeting a boy who is a graveyard man, resurrection man, who digs up bodies, dead bodies for a living. So that's kind of how the story begins. But I just really loved these books. I didn't think that these books were going to be something for me, but yeah, I adored them. And then the other author that I wanted to mention is Erin A. Craig. Again, these are both books from the same series, so I need to read some of her other work as well, because I know she has a few more books, but I've read House of Salt and Sorrow and House of Roots and Ruin, and these are so incredible. I would describe them as like YA historical gothic fantasies, I guess, with like mysteries, but they are extremely atmospheric. Like I felt like I was living in these worlds. I really like these books, especially because they are part of a series, but they almost feel like standalones. So the first book is a reimagining of the 12 Dancing Princesses. It is very like dark and eerie, not like, actually I shouldn't say like so dark. It's definitely like gothic and very eerie feeling, and a bit of like a what's really going on. I can't quite tell what's really happening and what's really not, and there are some things that you're like, oh, that's a bit icky, I guess. But I do feel like I am a bit of a scaredy cat, and I didn't feel like they were too dark for me, so do with that what you will. But yeah, this one is a reimagining of the 12 Dancing Princesses, and we are following Annalee, and Annalee lives at Highmore. She has 11 sisters, and everyone thinks that this family is cursed because the sisters keep dying and no one knows why, and they all are kind of dying in these different ways. So yeah, they think this family is cursed, and Annalee herself is like, why do my sisters keep dying? I don't understand what's going on. And so she kind of goes on a mission to figure things out. Super fascinating. When I got to the end, I was like, what? And then I recently just read the second one, and this follows one of the other sisters in that family. This is Verity, and I think she's either the youngest or one of the youngest sisters from that family. And so this takes place many years later after the first book, because now Verity is 18 and Verity was like really young in this one, and she has lived a really sheltered life. Her oldest sister Camille is very protective over her. She doesn't understand why she can't like be a part of society and like find a husband and all of these things, because her sister just kind of like won't let her go go anywhere or do anything. And then she finds out something about herself that she never knew, and she is like, I am going to leave Highmore. And so she runs away and she goes and lives with a family that has hired her as a painter, because she is a painter by trade, I guess, and they have commissioned her to do a work. And so now she is living in a new house and a different part of like this world, I guess. So there's like new customs and new like social norms, I guess, compared to the first book, and it is really fascinating. And again, it's one of those things where there's something happening and you don't know why it's happening, and so she's trying to figure out what's going on, you're trying to figure out what's going on. It's really hard to tell who are the good guys and who are the bad guys in this book specifically. That's kind of fun. Like, it's kind of fun being like, wait, do I like them or do I not? Like, I don't know if I can trust them. And again, it does have a bit of a darker, eerie feel to it, but not too much in my opinion. Like, it was just dark in like a gothic kind of way and a little bit creepy. Like, there are some things that you're like, oh my gosh, what the heck? But so good. The next question is, who is your new fictional crush? And I would say I don't like fall in love with bookish boys super often, but of course I do have a new fictional crush, and that has to be Justin. He is just the epitome of, if he wanted to, he would. Acts of service. Like, he was just so fun and so sweet. I would have to say one of my favorite things that Justin did in this book, apart from the unicorn floaty, because that was kind of iconic, but one of the other things is he did these like pre-date surveys and like post-date exit survey type things, where before he would go on a date with our other main character, he would send her a little like online survey to fill out, and it was like, what do you want to do on this date? What kind of time of day would you prefer? Would you like morning, afternoon, evening? Do you want to eat? Do you want to do an activity? If so, what type of activity? And he listed a few options. And then after the date, he would also send her another little survey to fill out that would be like, please give your feedback on this date. And that was just, it was just so sweet and so cute. He was the best. I was just looking at some of the things that I underlined, and one of the quotes says, I felt like I could stay in this moment forever, like it was timeless because of how absolutely perfect it was. And yet there was nothing perfect about it, not in the traditional sense. We were in pajamas, we weren't on a date, standing under the moon, we were next to a sink full of dirty dishes and a crusty waffle iron. There wasn't music playing or candlelight or rose petals, but it was perfect. I wouldn't have changed a single thing about it. So good. I just keep yapping for way too long, guys. I need to be answering these questions more succinctly. Stop yapping. I just love talking about books. I love it. The next question is a book that made you cry, and there have been a few books that have made me cry, or at least like get teary-eyed specifically, but the one that made me cry the most would have to be Into the Dark. Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. I sobbed through this. I need to like go back and reread this and annotate it because I haven't. I will also link my reading vlog of this down below if you want to watch that, because you can again see me sob multiple times, but also just see my reading experience and like all of my thoughts throughout reading this book. And it is spoiler free, so even if you haven't read the book, you can still watch the vlog if you want to, but if you have read it, you'll probably like get all of the references that I'm like hinting at. The next question is a book that made you happy, and again, so many books have made me so happy, but when I was trying to think about books that have just given me a real sense of like joy, I think I would have to say one of my most recent reads, which is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. But I feel like the author really helps you to get to know Winifred and also Beau in such like a deep way. You know their backstories and their traumas and their just, I don't know, the things that have happened in their life that have led them to this point and how they became the person that they are now. And both of them are a little bit cautious and have a few walls up, and understandably so based on their backstories. And then you get to see, I could actually cry just thinking about it. They're not even real. What is going on? But you get to see these two characters who haven't had the easiest life just find their person, and there is just something so beautiful about that, and something so happy about seeing two people find the love of their lives, and especially when they weren't even expecting it or they weren't really looking for it, and you can just tell how much they love each other. I feel like that's the thing that really got me and made me so happy, is you can really clearly tell that they are so in love with each other. The scene at the end of Wynn's birthday, I obviously won't say too much more because I don't want to ruin anything, but that scene, and then after like they came home after that, like those two scenes were just so beautiful to read because there was just so much joy in those two scenes. I loved it so much. Moving on before I start crying again. The next question is the most beautiful book you've bought or received so far this year. And I actually had to think about this for a while because I haven't really like bought any special editions, or I don't know, I just haven't been collecting any super special books. I definitely have books that I really love and like love the cover of, but I don't have anything too crazy. One of the ones that I do think think is so beautiful and I am very thankful to have in my hands is this one. I think this is the most beautiful book that I have received so far this year. This is an ARC copy of Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood, and Hachette Australia does the most wonderful job with these. I don't know if they're going to do this with every Ali Hazelwood release, but they've done it with Check and Mate, Bride, and now Not in Love. They do these like mini hardback special edition ARC copies, and I just think they are so beautiful. And every single time I've received one, I've just been like, wow, I am so lucky. Like I don't know what I did to deserve this. So thank you, Hachette. Thank you, Claudia, because these are just so beautiful. But I did want to mention a couple really special books that I've received so far this year that I just cannot believe I was able to receive. The first one has to be, I got an early copy of Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. This is the copy that I received. Getting an early copy, this is not like an ARC, but like an early copy of a book that is literally your most anticipated release of the year, that is insane. There is just something so magical about that. Like I don't know what I did to deserve this, and I will never stop being thankful again to Hachette for sending me an early copy of this book. Like I can't believe I was on like the list of people who got to receive this, because Magnolia Parks is everything to me, and so getting an early copy of that was just probably like the peak of my career thus far, actually. And going along with that, I also got an ARC copy of Funny Story by Emily Henry. Again, don't know what I did to deserve this. I feel like there are so many people out there who deserve it way more than me, but to have been able to receive an ARC copy of this, like it says the date that it comes out, like that is crazy to me. That is so crazy to me. This was also one of my most anticipated releases of the year. This was sent to me by Penguin, and I just cannot thank them enough for, again, just putting me on the list of people that received this, and I will treasure this forever. I cannot believe I have an ARC copy of an Emily Henry book. That is insane. And the last official question from like the original tag questions is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And there are so many. Pretty much everything on my TBR, and also everything on my 2024 TBR, but I discussed that in a recent video, so I don't want to go too in depth with that specific TBR, but I decided to give you guys 3 books that I'm like, I need to read these, and if I haven't read them, honestly, in the next like 2 months, message me and be like, Rachel, you said you were gonna read these 3 books ASAP Rocky, and you have not. I'm disappointed in you, because if you send me that, I will be very sad. But hopefully I will have read all of these books. The first one that I really need to get to is obviously Ruthless Vows. We've already discussed this. If I haven't read this in the next probably 2 weeks, literally be mean to me. Not too mean, but a little bit. The next one on this list is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I need to read this. I really do. Again, I have no reason not to, apart from that it's just a little bit intimidating and it's quite long, but I want to read this so badly, so why haven't I? I don't know. And the last one that I am like dying to read, need to read ASAP, is Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. I read the first book in this duology a couple months ago and I rated it 4.5 stars. So why haven't I picked up the second book? There is no excuse. Like, why would I not pick up a book that is a sequel? Well, I guess that's kind of like Ruthless Vows as well, but like I have heard incredible things about the second book in this series, so like why would I not pick it up? I have it, I own it, I have it in my hands, I have the ability and the time to read it, and I've just gone, you know what, I'll read something else. Why? It doesn't make any sense. So these 3 books, if I haven't read them in the next 2 months, I don't deserve to own them, honestly. And then, like I said at the beginning of this video, I did steal a few extra questions from bestie Katie, so shout out to her. The first little extra question that she came up with was, what books do you want to reread this year? I have so many books that I want to reread. I love doing rereads. I've already done a few so far this year. I still have to finish my Throne of Glass reread, so I only have Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash to go. I definitely need to finish that at some point ASAP. I also just want to reread the Magnolia Park series. I always want to be rereading the Magnolia Park series, and I haven't done like an official full reread of that series, which is bizarre because it's my favorite series of all time. I've reread the first book, I've reread the 4th book, and I've reread parts of all of the other books, but I want to just sit down and like do a full reread, annotation, you know, just like in-depth reread sometime. I don't know when. I also have been itching to do a reread of The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. I don't know why, but I've just been thinking about it a lot recently, so hopefully I will get to that this year. I'm not sure, maybe just like audiobooks, we'll see. And the last one that I'm really considering doing, maybe, I don't know, I'm still debating whether I want to do this or even if if I like have the time to do it. But I want to reread Powerless by Lauren Roberts before Reckless comes out. Maybe I could do that one as an audiobook as well. I'm not sure, but that one is just so good. I also really want to reread Happy Place, but I think I have a plan for that one. I think I know when I'm going to do a reread for that one. Anyway, I want to reread all my favorites ever. So this is a horrible question to ask me because there are just too many. The next question is favorite author so far this year. And again, I was trying to think of an author that I've read multiple books from that I've loved, like all of those books. And the one that really stuck out to me was the author of a series that I read this year and absolutely loved. And that is Kerry Maniscalco and the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. This is a 4-book series, historical fiction or like historical mystery, I guess. YA, absolutely phenomenal. Such great romance, such great tension, such great like plot lines as well. I loved these so much and I cannot believe that I didn't pick them up earlier. Obsessed. Like I just want to reread these ASAP because they were so much fun. And I think Kerry Maniscalco is the author that I've read the most of so far this year. I don't think I've read 4 books from any other author this year so far. There is literally construction happening outside. I don't know what's going on. My apologies. I'm gonna keep filming. But this is also kind of surprising to me because I read Kingdom of the Wicked and not a fan of Kingdom of the Wicked. I only read the first book and then I was like, see you later. I'm not continuing to read anything else in that series. It just wasn't my vibe and I think that's chill. But I'm also like, Kerry, please, can we have some more historical mystery romances? Like, I'm begging, please. The next question is books that you have been putting off. I have 2 that I have specifically been putting off and that I own physical copies of. The first one is it pronounced Rouge by Mona Awad? I own this book. I was sent it by the publishers. I'm very thankful to have it, but I'm scared of it. I'm really scared of it. I've read Bunny by Mona Awad. I've read nothing else. I don't know if I liked Bunny. I can't tell. I never ended up reading it because I was like, what was that? It was a fever dream. It was definitely an interesting reading experience and I'm glad that I read it. But I'm like, do I feel the desire to read anything else by this author? I'm not sure. So if you've read Rouge, let me know. Should I read it? Would I like it? Should I just unhaul it? I'm scared of it. I really am. And the second one I also received as like PR from the publisher and it is How Does It Feel? Again, I'm scared of this book based on everything that I've heard about it. It is not going to be for me. And then also every time I've like shown it in a reading vlog or something being like, oh, I like might want to read this. Everyone's always like, Rachel, I don't think you want to read that. Like that is so not your cup of tea. And I'm like, guys, you know me well. You do. You know me so well. So if you guys don't think I'm going to like it, I don't think I'm going to like it. Again, let me know your thoughts. Should I just unhaul it? What is the vibe? Like, I don't even know what it's about. The next question is a book you enjoyed with mixed reviews, and I think I just have to say Emily Wilde too. I know I've mentioned this one a couple times already in this video, but I just feel like a lot of people either love it or hate it, and I really loved it, so had to mention this one. A series that you want to finish by the end of the year. I really want to get up to date with Boys of Tommen. I am currently still in the middle of Redeeming 6. I've actually taken a break from it just because it's a long book and it's really emotional and it's really like hard hitting. So I took a bit of a break. I'm definitely going to go back to it 100%. Like I'm still loving it. It just hurts a little bit. I obviously need to read this and then Taming 7 and then I'll be up to date, and I really want to do that this year. That is a huge goal for me. The next question is 5-star predictions for the rest of the year. I think Reckless by Lauren Roberts will probably be 5 stars for me, and the only other prediction that I have is that I think I will have a 5-star from Brandon Sanderson. I don't know which book from him it will be, but I think there's got to be something from him that I'm going to give 5 stars. I've only read one book by him and it was 4.5, and I've just heard incredible things about all his books, so I'm like, surely there's going to be a 5-star in there somewhere for me. Hopefully multiple. We'll see. The next question is, do you think you'll reach your reading goal / are you going to change it? I think so. My reading goal is 100, and according to Goodreads, I'm 33 books ahead of schedule, so I think I'll reach my goal. And the last question is, any new goals for the rest of the year? I don't have anything like super huge that I'm like, I really want to do this or I really want to change this. The only thing I want to focus on is continuing to read my physical TBR, because obviously that's always a goal. And the other thing I want to start doing more of is just reading books from my local library, because I used to do that a lot and I haven't been doing it as much this year. And it's a really great way to check out books or like test out books that you're not super sure about, or like authors you're not super sure about. So I want to do that. But those are all of the questions that I have to answer today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love filming this every year. I just think it's so much fun. I just love talking about books. It is something I'm so passionate about. So the fact that you guys want to sit and listen to me, and if you've made it this far in the video, I'm shocked and I'm so incredibly thankful. I would love to know what your favorite book of 2024 has been so far. Like, please let me know, because if I haven't read it, I need to read it ASAP. So yeah, let me know your favorite book of the year so far in the comments down below. My camera died with like 5 seconds left, but I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.